Aitah for ditching my family on vacation and doing my own thing. This year, for spring break, I, 40-year-old female, gave my kids, 10-year-old female and 17-year-old male, the choice of 4 cities to visit for spring break: Toronto, Chicago, Washington, D.C., or Cancun, Playa del Carmen. Before they were allowed to choose, I expressed to them and my husband, 47-year-old male, that this trip I would not be planning. All other family trips, and even couples trips, have been planned exclusively by me. Some even paid for exclusively by me. We have always had separate finances. I have always done this willingly, but with irritation. I feel we would never travel if I didn't plan it, but I also feel there would be complaints that we never go anywhere. I also feel like it becomes my responsibility to ensure everyone is having fun. We do things each person would like, and scope local eats well in advance to make sure everyone gets at least something they would enjoy. I have never been told, this is my job, I have just done it. It is important to me that everyone enjoys trips, has fun, learns something, etc. The kids chose Washington, D.C. They have never been, and my husband has never been. I have been quite a few times. I asked for this trip to be planned by them, kids and spouse. I expressed this before they chose city. I offered reminders encouraging them to discuss together what they wanted to do, see, eat, etc. I also told them that typically when I plan a trip, I plot things we want to do in that city in a trip within Apple Maps, so that you can see what things are close together, making planning easier. In the 4 weeks from decision time to leaving for Washington, D.C., I did not hear or observe much discussion about the trip. That's okay. I don't need them to plan things how I plan them. Mentally, I am nervous about the situation, but if I said I don't want to plan this trip, then it's not okay for me to micromanage how they plan. Now we are driving there, and my daughter, 10, asks me what kinds of things, specifically, we are going to do on our trip. Excuse me? It is revealed that literally nothing is planned, except where we are staying, because I booked that. I offered in the beginning and actually gave them several options to choose from. Everything that is planned is more of a mental list of things they'd like to do, see, potentially. I am pissed, yes. More so, I am hurt. I am sad. Part of me wants to take the next 4 hours of driving time to plot out things so we can see things that are close in proximity, so not to waste time transversing the city. I know if I do that, I will be filled with resentment. The other part of me wants to do that, plot out things, and actually just do it alone. Also, I'll add that I am aware that winging it is totally reasonable, and we have had many trips where nothing was planned, set in stone, and everything was great. For me, it's the nothing, not a damn thing planned. Would I be the asshole for just doing my own thing? You communicated to your husband that planning activities was on him, with discussion input from the kids. That was the only requirement for the trip. He and they agreed to that. Remind him that your only request was that you not have to plan the trip, so he is not to involve you and do it himself. Am I the antagonist for yelling at my family about being uninvited to my cousin's wedding? So my cousin Lisa, female 30 years old, is getting married to her fiancé of 10 years Ahmed, male, 32 years old. Note for later, Lisa is Catholic while Ahmed is Muslim. I, female, 21 years old, am bisexual and have currently been with my girlfriend for 4 years. Myself and Lisa were speaking at an anniversary dinner to which I introduced my girlfriend to her, who was very respectful. Lisa said to my mom that we were both invited to the wedding as well as my brother and his girlfriend, when my mom inquired about the wedding invitations. About a month later, the wedding invitations get posted and lo and behold, everyone gets an invitation, except for me. I was confused at first, but my parents told me that it was probably just lost in the post and to keep looking for address, etc. I was instantly curious. I decided to not text Lisa because she had too much on her plate. Another month rolls around, that's still no invitation. I ask my mom and she tells me that I am definitely invited because she rang my uncle, Lisa's father, and he said that she texted my brother and him asking for my girlfriend's last name. I then grew suspicious as my brother had not texted me nor had she. Why couldn't she come to me about it? I then grew annoyed because my mom then said she asked my brother to ask her again, to which I said I'd text her and ask just to clarify because as stated before, I'm 21 and can fight my own battles. I was also angry that I was kept out of the loop. My mother then got defensive, raising her voice telling me to not bother Lisa and that she's got a million of things on her mind at the moment and that she's already asked my brother. I informed her that I was an adult and don't need anyone speaking for me. She then told me that I was at the wedding and that she will sort it and that if I don't get an invitation, none of them go. I explained to her I didn't care if I got nor not. Explained to her I didn't care if it got one or not. I explained to her I didn't care if it. Later that night, I checked her phone and saw texts from her to my brother and her to Lisa saying that I was not invited to the wedding due to my sexuality and that Ahmed's religion was Muslim, therefore they didn't need the stress there. Personally, I didn't care about the invitation. I was not going to a place where I was not welcome, but I was completely hurt that this was kept from me. I confronted my family and told them I knew and yelled at them. My mother told me to calm down and that I was still going to the wedding whether Lisa liked it or not. I told her to piss off and that I was not going, but she demanded that I was going, and that she kept it from me because she did not want to upset me. I told her that I didn't need her to fight my battles, and that I was a grown-up. My brother and dad intervened, calling me ungrateful for their so-called protection. I stormed off and haven't really spoken to them since. No one has apologized, but I don't think my reaction was uncalled for. Am I the asshole? Not the antagonist. It's clear that your family was trying to set you up for an uncomfortable situation by withholding crucial information about the wedding invite. Turning to Lisa directly was the right move, and it's good that you didn't attend an event where you weren't really wanted. Your family's actions were manipulative and unfair, and they should have been upfront with you from the beginning. Good on you for standing your ground and not falling into their trap. Argument with husband turned out horribly. I don't even know where to start. We are both in our late 20s and have been together for almost 10 years. We had ugly arguments before and couldn't handle the situation well. But for a year we haven't had a disagreement either. We could talk about anything. We basically live together in our own home, but on weekdays I'm at the university, and I only travel home for the weekends. It only lasts for a few months per year and I almost finished school. So this last weekend he spent a day with his hobby, totally fine. He even neglected it nowadays. And in the evening he asked me if I'd want to hang out with his friend. He only has one friend who lives near, and they both work on the weekdays. I told him maybe because my eye got swollen and red. I asked him if it's fine if he'd go alone. I even offered him a ride. He sounded irritated, so I told him I'd go if he'd want me to. He didn't say a word, so I got dressed and asked him where are we going. He said he goes alone. He didn't even kiss me goodbye. I told him that it hurt, and I wish we could spend some alone time too. So he went to his friend's house and texted me that all I want to do is make him feel bad because he spent the day with his hobby, and he didn't go out at all in the past 6 months. Firstly, I haven't said a word about spending the day with his hobby. I asked him how it was and what did he do. Secondly, in the past 6 months we did a lot of things. We live in a tiny town, not much of a life here, but we went to a concert, to a ball, had 6 dinner nights with friends, and in January, we met his friend at least once a week, but sometimes 2. The next day we went to a family dinner. Everything was good. We discussed that it was just a misunderstanding, and of course, we can spend alone time too in the future. But when we arrived home he started again. That he doesn't have friends and I want to take his only friend. I won't let him go out at all. He told me before that I have a social life at the university, which is not really true, while he has no one at home. This came out of the blue because I never did any of this. In the past when I didn't have time to meet his friend because I studied, he went alone and it was fine. After that he went to his parents' house, and when he got home, he was irritated, told me to shut up and leave him alone. I only asked him if he wants to join in the CS game we've played together. I cried a lot in the last few days. I just can't hold them back. I cried everything. So I started crying and asked him if he loves me. He said yes, but still leave him alone. This day we haven't talked a word really. He only told me that there is nothing to discuss and he doesn't care about me and leave him alone. Then he drove me to the train station to go back to the university. He didn't even say goodbye. I'm in total disbelief. I don't know what is happening and why. He doesn't want to talk to me at all. I don't know if I should expect divorce papers when I got home next week or we could talk in the meantime. This is a 180 change. I don't even recognize him anymore. So what I'm noticing here is a near complete absence of clear communication about expectations in advance. This whole thing could have been avoided if you had said, hey, I'd like us to spend a little time together focused on each other this weekend, before he made other plans. Instead you got into this whole weird dance of if he's going to see his friend, but you don't want to go, but he wants you to go, but you're upset because you want to spend time with him, just the two of you. It sounds like there's a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication going on between you and your husband. Counseling or therapy could also be beneficial in helping both of you navigate through this rough patch in your relationship. Ultimately, open and honest communication is key in resolving conflicts and rebuilding trust and understanding. Is it normal that my husband says, I love you to a work friend? I've been together with my husband, 29 male, for nearly 10 years, married for 4 years. I have noticed lately that he has been taking a lot of shifts. I do acknowledge that we are going through in vitro fertilization, so he has been picking up to help pay with that. But his pay is also the same each week, so now I'm not so sure what he is exactly doing. Today his work friend, 23 female, popped by our house to ask my husband to help her with car issues. She said that she has no close friends, and she treats my husband like a brother best friend. But my husband rarely mentions her at all, so I was taken aback when she said that. He invited her inside and introduced us. She is really nice, but there are a few things that she told me that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I can be quite introverted and she seems very extroverted, so I don't know if I'm just overreacting. She told me that some people at work thought that her and my husband were together, and how this one person confronted her and asked if she knew that my husband was married. I asked why would they think that, and she just casually said it's because they call each other all the time and tell each other, I love you. That was a big shock to me. My husband has Asperger's and isn't the type to verbally say that kind of stuff. He only says that to me, he doesn't even say that to his family parents. My husband seemed like he panicked and said that it's more of a love kind of thing, that it didn't mean anything but it really rubbed me the wrong way. She also went on to say that they would talk for hours and hours about everything, how he would come over and help clean her house or fix her car, and how he is so sweet and listens to her about anything. My husband rarely does that for me. I have to ask him to help me with cleaning, and when I try to vent to him, he doesn't listen and focuses on his phone. We went out to get food after, and she shared a drink with him. When we finally came home alone, I kind of shut off, but I noticed my husband gave me a lot of attention, saying stuff like, "I'm so glad I have you," or "Are you feeling sick? I'll get you anything you need." It made me feel suspicious because that is not how he treats me normally. He usually has a short chat with me and he goes to his computer to play games. A lot of the time I have to ask him to spend time with me. Am I overthinking this, or is this actually suspicious? I haven't said anything to my husband yet. I physically feel sick and just have this huge gut feeling. I don't know. No, it isn't normal at all. Why would anyone go round to someone's house and say those things unless they were trying to split you up? Your husband might not be cheating yet, but if she has her way, he will be soon. Your husband's actions are red flags and you should be cautious. He introduced you to his girlfriend so he can be more open about seeing her, and they both seem comfortable with what they're doing already. It's important to address these boundaries before it's too late. I told my fiancé that I don't know how much longer I can deal with his family after how they have been treating me. My partner and I have been together for 4 years and engaged for 2. We've always had a good relationship with a few ups and downs as any normal couple. We have always been able to get through everything together. I have always gotten along with his family until recently. As we are trying to plan a wedding, everyone keeps trying to give their opinion. I don't mind getting opinions, I am open to ideas. However, at the end of the day, it is our wedding, and we want to do whatever we like. My partner has never cared about the wedding planning, he always leaves it up to me and tells me to do what makes me happy. My partner and I come from 2 different traditions. Until now, we have been trying to do both of our traditions, but it has been mostly what they want to do, and I have not been able to do any of my traditions. For the wedding, my partner and I agreed we will be doing both of our traditions. My in-laws have been supportive until recently. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law told me that the girl's side isn't supposed to send a lot of people to the wedding. I told them I understand, so I will be only inviting my father's siblings and my mother's siblings and my first cousins. But then I was told that I might not even be able to invite all of them either. My partner is also the one paying for the wedding. I told my mother-in-law and sister-in-law that my uncles and aunts have all raised me and I cannot tell them that they aren't invited to my wedding. My sister-in-law told me that maybe to the wedding, I can invite just my cousins. I had told her that if I invite one cousin and not the other, or just my cousins and not my aunts and uncles, then none of my family are coming, and I will not have anyone from my family at my wedding, and the wedding will only be their family. I tried to explain to my partner that if my parents can't have their siblings there, then my parents will not be attending my wedding either. I also told my partner that if my family can't come to my wedding, I also won't be attending, and do not want to have a wedding. My in-laws want to have a wedding, but invite everyone from their family and only my parents to mine. I asked my sister-in-law when she got married if she had all her aunts, uncles, and cousins, and she replied with yes. So how is my wedding any different? I am at the point where I do not want to deal with this anymore, and I not even want a wedding anymore. My partner and I fought last night and we both said some hurtful things. I told him that if I tell my uncle he is invited but my 2 cousins aren't invited, then my uncle will not attend. And he told me okay, let him not come. All of a sudden my partner is siding with his family on this. This was supposed to be a fun and exciting time for me, and I am miserable, and don't even want a wedding and can't wait for it to be over. Why would I have a wedding if my family can't attend? Do I need to rethink my whole relationship? It sounds like you really need to take a step back and evaluate whether this relationship is truly right for you. Starting the marriage with these kinds of conflicts may not bode well for the future. It's concerning that your fiancé is siding with his family over you. That's a major red flag. It might be a good idea to have an honest conversation with him about your concerns before moving forward with the wedding planning. Am I the antagonist for refusing to help my parents out for the last few months of me living at home? My parents have 3 children. There's me, 17 years old, my sister Lila, 15 years old, and my other sister Gracie, 12 years old. Gracie has been really sick since she was born. She has a really bad immune system, ongoing health problems that mean getting common illnesses are bad for her, and send her to the hospital, and my parents have been fighting hard to keep Gracie healthy and safe and out of the hospital. This has meant Gracie has been the child my parents focus on more, and this also means she gets all their patience and understanding. My parents take a lot out on Lila and me. We cannot need them or take their attention because then we're the worst. Examples. Lila fell when she was 8 and she was bleeding a lot. She ran crying to mom because she was upset and sore, and mom got so mad at her and asked her if she couldn't see she was dealing with Gracie. Mom scolded her super hard and claimed she wasn't a baby and had no reason to cry over it or run to her. Lila was forgotten at school when she was 7 and she was crying in the car on the way home. My dad scolded her for acting up, and he told her she was big enough to understand accidents can happen. She cried to me when she got home. Lila was having some trouble at school, and the principal called our parents and requested a meeting. They were really temperamental with her and for days would ask, "Don't you see us struggling enough? Why can't you deal with it yourself?" Lila was 10 years old. I struggle with math. Always have, always will. A few years ago I was sick for 2 weeks and then my parents kept me home for another 2 so I wouldn't bring anything else home to Gracie. I needed a lot of help to catch up with math and my teacher needed my parents' signature to keep me for extended help after school. My parents said they'd sign it but forgot and got mad when I reminded them. Then when my teacher called and asked for them to have it in the next day, my parents told me I was so selfish with their time and they were so bad-tempered with me. I broke my arm when I was younger and my parents were called to the hospital. Mom showed up and yelled at me that I should be ashamed for taking her attention away from Gracie who needed her. Those are some specific examples. We take a lot of steps to keep Gracie away from sicknesses we might pick up. We do our best to not make her sick. I never minded because I got it, but I do hate how my parents treat me and Lila. Now my parents are struggling. Dad lost his job and makes less and both my parents are very stressed. They asked me to take some of the weight off their shoulders and help them, give them time off and give some money from my part-time job into the household, and I refused. I'll be moving out as soon as I turn 18. I've been saving, and my parents don't deserve my help when they resent me for ever needing it as their child. They have not been good parents to me in years but were before. My parents got so mad and told me I'm so unfair to them. Am I the asshole? Lock down your credit, and the very minute you turn 18 make sure they can't access your accounts and hide important documents from your parents. Not the antagonist. Walk away but be there for Lila, and stand firm in saying no to financial support from your neglectful parents. It's tough, but remember you have zero responsibility to them and it's okay to put yourself first. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.